It's the One Podcast.
We built the software months in advance and we just waited and nothing was happening. 1 week later, we got like our first monthly recurring revenue customers. Then we sold lifetime deals just to see if there was demand. And we did 20K the first months. The biggest mistake people are doing, whatever the business type is.
This is the CRM that you should use. I've never had a job. Most of the people that I've associated with are actually different. Like most of the people who've come on the podcast have started businesses after having a career in the chosen industry. So I'm glad to hear that you have the same background there. And I also, so you got your start doing marketing and SEO and like kind of side gigs and freelancing and all that is what it sounds like.
Yeah, but mostly for me, initially, like I was just doing
With
it
the law
for me.
firms, yeah.
Yeah, no, like I was like at the law firms doing a lot of the day and at night in early mornings, and when I was nothing to do at the job, I was
Right.
just like trying to build an SEO dropshipping business, which
Okay.
worked. And this is where I really learned marketing, SEO. I think like
Got it.
e-commerce is a pretty good thing to
Niche.
learn, like how
Yeah.
to, it's a good niche to learn marketing in general, to learn SEO if you're not into ads, but also to learn ads, obviously. And then when you come to the startup world, all of this is super valuable because most of the guys have different set of skills, but not these ones really. And in the end, it's all about like how to do marketing and how to do sales. And these skills are invaluable and you can use it in any business.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think it's like something that we recommend to people, and I think that is pretty similar, which is just it seems that the best way that you can learn is just by the trial and error. You know what I'm saying? Rather than sort of reading it. And e-commerce, I think, is a good niche, like just like a marketing agency is a good niche because it's easier. There's a lot of information, a lot of demand out there. So you can just get to learning that a lot easier. So I guess at what point were you like saving up money to start a SaaS, or at what point did you get into SaaS, or how did that come about?
yeah, I think it's really thanks to COVID, really, because I was in my law career. I wasn't a lawyer yet, but I was about to become a lawyer in a couple of months. I had my big internships in the biggest law firm in the world. And then COVID hit and I was doing nothing at this period. I was in the law school, training law school, lawyer school. And then I had to do nothing because they were not prepared for COVID. So everything was canceled when it comes to classes. And for 3 months straight, I was just alone in my little apartment in Paris. And I needed money because I was enrolled in the University of Oxford and I need to pay my loan pretty much. And without internships and everything going on, I had this money cut off. I lost like a scholarship essentially because of COVID. And so I had an urgency to get money to pay my tuition fees. And yeah, because I don't have anyone to back me up for this. And so I wanted for a long time to do some online business. And I was always the guy watching YouTube videos over and over in French, in English. And I was doing nothing, like just listening. But you know how it works, like you need to do stuff to properly get it done. And so I bought a course like one day after the COVID started. And then I immersed myself like from 9 a.m. to midnight every single day. And then like within a month, I made like money with the e-com shop only via SEO, no ads in the beginning. And SEO was my major acquisition channel. And I met my co-founder two months later during an online remote hackathon that we won. And then it clicked in my head because I wanted to do software for such a long time, but I was not a technical guy, like not doing programming at all. And then I met my co-founder 2 months later, And then we started to do some freelancing gigs together. And I think in November of that year, so COVID, it's April, like 2020. And then we met, and then during summer and for November, we started to do some freelancing gig. And in 3 months, we saved each like $20K. And then I just had the last 6 months of internship to officially become a lawyer. So I did that. If my co-founder forced me to do it, and because it was a shame not just to become a
Really?
lawyer
And
at
not
6 months. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I just done that. Yeah. After 7.5 years of study, 8 years of studies, actually. Yeah. Why not do the 6 months? It's always cool. And so, yeah, I done that. It helped me save money a lot because during this kind of internships, you're well paid, like $3K per month for an internship. It's pretty good in
It's not
France,
nothing.
actually. And so, yeah, it helped me like save a bunch of money in the end, 30K
Wow.
plus, and him too as well. So yeah, this is pretty much where
Yeah.
how it started.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting when you're doing e-com business, which I've done as well, or an agency, like you're all in the back of your mind, you're thinking about doing a software company because you use so much software, especially like probably using SEO planning software, how that model works. And it's just fascinating because it's like remote, you know what I'm saying? You don't have to have
Mm.
physical assets, but you don't have the technical skill set. So it's you're going
Yeah.
to change your life path and go learn it. So I think it's great that you did that hackathon and found your co-founder and built that up, built that kind of like perfect picturesque relationship. So I guess how do you keep what's motivating you this whole time where you're stacking up the $3,000 a month, et cetera? Do you have the vision of Break Cold or another SaaS like in the back of your head? Like why are you so focused with the 9 to midnight
Yeah,
approach?
I think like it was just like an opportunity because my whole life I wanted to. I love design, I love products in general, and I think it's something I wanted to do. And then COVID hits. I could do other things than be in the law sphere. And I I wanted to become a lawyer for money,
Right.
essentially. I grew up with my mom, the
Like most
money.
people,
Yeah,
some parents. Yeah.
exactly. And then I arrived to Paris. I was like a young wolf wanting to become like a big law partner in these big law firms,
Got
earning
it.
tons of money at a young age, but also older. But when you get there, it's super hard to get there. But once you get there, like they say in English,
Respect,
like
Sharon.
everyone wants to get in, but inside everyone wants to get out. And the
Yeah.
same banking as well. And and essentially it was that. I hated the job. I was talented at it, but I hated it because you do such long hours for nothing. It's also one of this industry where software didn't hit properly, and like there's a whole monopoly in there, so it's very hard to break into and create a new software. But essentially, you do long hours. Yes, you paid well for a young age, but like I always told my mom, if I can just sell like all the things, I would be more successful working from 9 a.m. to midnight every single day, weekends included sometimes, if I was doing something else than just being a lawyer. And I think that was pretty much the mindset. And I, with my friends in law firms, we were like, yeah, the law partners, like they're telling you to do something, but you know better, even though you're just a junior. And it's just like this bias and I think every like people who are their own boss thing felt like
They have
this
that.
when they had
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
job. Yeah, yeah, in 2 years I can become better than you, but because it's not a eat what
It's
you
not
kill
guaranteed.
system,
Yeah.
yeah, you won't be able to jump the ladder super quickly. And so that was just the drive to do that
Yeah.
and to be my own boss in
Yeah.
general.
Yeah. I think a lot of people who are on the entrepreneur path can identify with that immediately. So I guess what are the first steps that you're taking to building the SaaS? Like obviously you were saying that it's not pivoted to be a CRM, which it is a CRM now.
Mm.
Did you use like CRMs or sales development, social selling software in the e-com business or with the freelancing? Where did the idea come from And what were like the first steps you took in terms of like investing? Did you build it? Did you build an MVP? What was the first stuff that you did?
Yeah. The first software that we did with my co-founder was an accounting software for lawyers. And it was a very bad mistake because we pretty much did something related to an industry that I hate. And also accounting is terrible because it's not like proper recurring revenue, because accounting happens pretty much once a year. We built the software months in advance and we just waited and nothing was happening. And so because of that, we started to do other things, because when I was trying to sell the accounting software for lawyers, I had to use sales softwares. This is where I discovered the cold emailing softwares, etc. I think back then Lemlist was the golden child before like Instantly and Smartly came in, pretty much. And so I was using Lemlist a bit. I think I tried Pipedrive back then, but it was terrible.
Sucks.
Terrible because I'm not a salespeople by default back then, but also because even now when I think about it, it's like there's many things that can be improved, especially since they've been
With
acquired
it.
in 2020. And so, yeah. And so I told my co-founder, you know what, we should build a cold emailing software with AI on the top, because back then it was pre-chat GPT and no one was building apps using like OpenAI APIs back then. It was beginning of 2022. And I told him, yeah, we should build like a small MVP in 2 weeks where I just give the software a LinkedIn URL or website URL. And from that, it will create like the icebreaker from it. And then you can shoot it with a cold emailing
Nice.
platform. So that was the idea. We did that in 2 weeks. 1 week later, we got like our first monthly recurring revenue customers. Then we sold lifetime deals just to see if there was demand. And we did 20K the first months. And then we focused on subscriptions. But the problem was that AI wasn't the answer for
Wasn't
many
good.
reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah, not that it wasn't good. I want to precise that. It was that people had huge expectations and still have these days. But the problem is not AI most of the time, is the quality of the data that you give to the AI. And the problem with our case was that like not everyone is filling the LinkedIn profile correctly. Not everyone has the metadata properly set on the website. So because of that, the quality of the data wasn't super good to feed the AI. And sometimes you had poor icebreaker AI first lines, and sometimes you didn't. And that's why also like Smart Lead, for the people listening here, they were in this space as well. They were actually the first ones who created AI first lines, I think with Smart Writer back then. And they pivoted to Smart Lead, and now like Smart Writer is not even a proper question in the equation. So everyone pretty much tried but failed this kind of business, I would say. And so because of that, we had to differentiate ourselves. And I say, yeah, most of the sales we closed was through socials, like through Twitter, X now, and also through LinkedIn. And just by talking with people, nurturing them, engaging with their posts, and all the friends we had, all the fastest growing startups at the time, Bootstrap specifically, like we were leveraging socials. So we say, yeah, you know what? We should be able to aggregate all the social media posts, LinkedIn, Twitter, of your leads, and like to monitor them inside the software, and then reach out, whether it's to nurture them to stay top of mind, to close deals faster, or just to generate leads, to social warm them, like we say, like to engage even before you reach out. So when you do reach out, pretty much guarantee yourself 100% reply rate. So that was the idea. And initially we thought the idea was for cold outreach. And pretty rapidly we realized that it was more an enhancement of what a modern
Yeah.
sales CRM should be. And this is where we did the pivot of being a sales CRM.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting because just for context, so I did a cold email agency that I exited last year. I had maybe 100 clients. A lot of that, they were all on the lower end of the market, right? So SaaS, small startups. And a lot of them used Pipedrive, or they wanted to use Pipedrive
Yeah.
for a lot of the reasons that you were saying in the first place. It's lightweight, etc. But it really doesn't do any of those things well. So I find it interesting that you saw that um that need there for that because it is a major need. Did you I do want to go back though to that kind of the AI sort of test. Um Obviously that was like popping off. People were very excited about it. When you're saying that like it didn't work as intended, was your decision to pivot based on like revenue or financial indicators or just based on your gut feel of what was the right product market fit? You know what I'm
Um,
saying? Like how did you
yeah,
base
yeah, for
that pivot?
sure.
Because most people would double down if they, went from 0 to 20 like right away.
Yeah, I think it was both, to be honest, but I think it was gut feeling because I don't know why. I remember the date precisely. It was March 7th, 2022, I think. So basically 3 months after we launched, like I had this realization because the churn rate was super high and I know we couldn't solve it. Like churn rate was like 40%. And I
Oh,
know
this was the churn.
it wasn't
Yeah.
solvable. And I knew it wasn't solvable. And I know it will be maybe a good business. Maybe you can do something and maybe sell it. Maybe we should have done that actually, do the quick cash grab
Quick
because
exit.
AI
Yeah.
was like the thing. But I knew we had something we could do something with the brand and like social selling in general. And to see long terms with my co-founder, like a lot of people out there, like they want to do some quick cash grab and
It's a bad
disappear.
idea.
And
I get what
yeah,
you're saying.
yeah,
You're
yeah,
more invested in it than that to just do that kind of, you know what I'm saying?
yeah. And with my co-founder, we like if the business, just the SaaS is working, we can do that for 10 years on the same SaaS. And
Why
because the
not
goal
work the
is,
same audience
yeah, exactly. And the goal is to build a big software. I think CRM is the biggest industry out there.
out of the
Salesforce,
SaaS?
yeah, yeah, exactly. And Salesforce is the biggest SaaS in the world. It's a growing industry. I don't think CRMs will disappear like tomorrow. And and this space in it, and no one will is crazy enough to build a sales CRM these days because essentially VC funds will not follow you. They think it's
That's
way too
right.
risky,
Way too
especially
competitive.
during that market. And the only CRM that is founded right now is founded by a billionaire, essentially. Otherwise, there's no like new CRMs in the space. And in the past decades, like are changing, so that's why we can give this a shot, essentially.
Yeah. So you really felt like that conviction that because it's interesting because most people like are thinking about it in terms of, oh, there's competitors. We don't want to get it, especially if there's a billionaire like Salesforce competitor. But I guess you're saying that actually made you want to get it because it hasn't been shaken up in a long time, or the industry hadn't been shaken up. Is that correct?
Yeah, correct. The idea is no one was that crazy to do it. So maybe it's a very stupid idea to launch a sales CRM in 2023, now 2024. But why not? You don't know, and no one is doing it. It's way too risky. You got to be almost stupid to do it, if I'm honest. So what? And but you don't know. So that was
Got it.
the idea. And the more we advance, the more we see that there's actually a possibility to make something big.
Got it. So I think people will understand that, as far as the niche being there, uh, you know what I'm saying? And trying to carve out and understand that there is, hey, a need for more lightweight, refreshed CRM that has that social selling. And ultimately, the thing that you're sticking to is that opener, the kind of core feature is the feed of the Twitter and the
Yeah.
LinkedIn, so you can see stuff to comment on, which is part of sales philosophy. That's what most people think good sales is, or good openers. And that's what the AI is based on, is like you doing the research at their website. But the the first line do you have, and I do want to get into a little bit more of the marketing and how you've been doing looking at content, but are you thinking about the product in terms of, hey, I want to reinvent the way people do sales and maybe incorporate AI or get things like website embedding and really teach people how to do openers in a better way? Because the whole opener thing seems like a core feature of the product.
Yeah, I think
Icebreaker, I
Michael.
guess, is what you're calling it, right?
Yeah, no, we don't emphasize that much on icebreakers these days. It's more about nurturing B2B relationships.
Got it.
Through socials and email, like also traditional communication channels. Because I think people, the biggest mistake people are doing, whatever the business type is, that they want to generate leads, but the hardest part is to close deals. And so they don't take enough time to nurture the warm leads, and which is a shame. Essentially, this is like the first point. The second point is, I think that the job of sales and marketing is merging more and more. So like salespeople, they become marketing guys, and
I agree
marketing
with
guys
that.
become salespeople. So I do think
All the time.
I strongly believe that now this job, like these two jobs, are merging together. Even in bigger companies, you can see this happening
Yeah.
much slower, but it still happens. And so now we have this hybrid role where you're both a marketing and a sales guy, and no software really fits that mindset
Sure.
in general, but also just as a CRM. And it's all, that is what all it is about. Like you always have people complaining, yeah, I have my CRM for marketing, for my marketing guys, it's HubSpot. And then you have the sales guys who are pretty much on Pipedrive. If we had to do like the difference, but there's no middle ground where it's sales design, but also taking into account socials. So this is pretty much what we do. And to teach people to use both traditional sales channels, email, calling, but also socials, because this is how you can pretty much almost double your sales pipeline closing.
Yeah. I think you have a very perceptive view of the market and what the need is. And I want to clarify to people that I think the only reason you have that is because of all that work you did when you were doing the other companies, right?
Yeah.
So that was what actually gave you the understanding of the market dynamics, even though it wasn't tied necessarily to the product as you're doing it today. Like you weren't researching CRMs, et cetera, back then, or Salesforce competition, but now it's that kind of has paid off. So how are you thinking about like marketing? Because I think you told me where you guys were at when we talked previously, but how are you thinking about, what are you doing as far as marketing? Are you trying to bootstrap, do a lot of ads, trying to work the organic content angle, cold email people? Like, how are you getting it out there before somebody comes and copies you?
Yeah. So right now we bootstrap. No, we don't plan to raise funds at all. And we tried pretty much everything. Some things pretty well. We tried to the max, and some things I think we still got potential. We tried cold emailing, obviously. Works very well, but depends on the case studies or lead magnets we can build. We were pretty much shooting 15 to 20,000 cold emails per month. But for many reasons, I realized that
those numbers.
Yeah, that was too much effort because we sell small subscriptions.
Great.
So it
Doesn't
wasn't
work
worth
at
it
all
for
this type of product.
Yeah, it can help a bit, but still it wasn't worth it. We ditched cold emailing like really a few weeks ago, actually. SEO is really our money maker right now. I think we're going to invest more and more in SEO, because with CRMs, some people, they might want a CRM, but you never know. But people who search for it, you can really close them super rapidly. So that's why I love SEO for many reasons. And then LinkedIn is so I would say, maybe 60% of signups, they come from SEO, then maybe 20% from LinkedIn content. So I post on LinkedIn pretty much every day, do some link magnets there. And also it doesn't just help to generate leads, but also more to nurture like existing leads. I add every qualified signups on LinkedIn. And so they see my content because I have a good reach on time. And so at some point
you're using your own product for that. I guess, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And to manage them as well with Chrome extension and stuff. Yeah. And we tried Twitter, X in the past. Actually, it was thanks to X that we started to Breakcold. I had 8K followers, 1 million impressions per month, but the quality of the leads is terrible on X. It's an audience that churns super rapidly.
A lot of bots.
Yeah, but just people who churn super rapidly on LinkedIn.
More
I would
businesses.
target audience. Yeah, it's more traditional. They don't trade a lot.
Yeah.
And And finally, YouTube is pretty recent, but I want to invest a lot in YouTube because it's evergreen content. And if someone watch your videos just a couple of times or just once, if it's a long video, like you really stick to them, you create a relationship that is way like bigger than other socials in general and in channels, even SEO.
Yeah.
So I think YouTube, we don't have that many subs, but even with just a video who's doing like 1K views, it can bring a lots of subscriptions. So that's pretty much the channels for now. And right now we're trying like paid ads a bit with Insta, Facebook, and like trying to find some big affiliates. I think that this will be like, yeah, a good move to do. We never did that before. So yeah.
Did you, and you've done like a lot of lead magnets, like how have you thought about growing your social media or those accounts? Was that something that you were familiar with like before starting the company? Did you bring somebody on for that? Or like, how do you think about that?
No, I think lead magnets were supernatural thanks to Twitter, because when I was on Twitter, I was like consuming it for 4 hours a day,
So you knew what to look,
5 months. So yeah, I knew exactly what to do.
what
And
works. I gotcha.
yeah, and so then I never did one lead magnet on X when I was hyped there. I should have, because I had way more followers and engagement.
Okay.
But then when I came to LinkedIn, I knew exactly what I had to do. So it was super simple. And I think the first one, blew, blew up and bring tons of leads. But yeah, pretty natural.
Nice.
Never got training. And just to give some credits, I think I took inspiration from Liam, who I think designed like the strategy of Instantly for lead magnets. I think on X they did a fantastic
Yeah.
job. So I took some inspiration there.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are like, at least some people are hesitant to take inspiration, but I think you want to have a good idea of who inspires you and who like produces stuff that's relevant. And with them, it's like a similar audience. So I think it makes sense that you would follow after that.
Yeah.
So to tie everything together, how are you like converting? How are you converting off? Because we talked about like the sales and the lead gen. But like, the only thing we haven't covered is just like converting people and getting them to stay paying.
Yeah. Like for us, I guess considering your audience, it will be a different answer because we're a SaaS. We try to not automate stuff, but to make it self-serve as much as possible. Like considering the knowledge base we have with the live chats and some automatic triggers. So this helps. Sometimes we close like subscriptions without to do anything really. Like they find us via Google, they onboard themselves. I have some videos, they onboard themselves and they just pay. So that is the first part. Second part is we nurture them with email sequences. So when you sign up, there's like a whole onboarding flow. I think for 2 months straight, you get emails from me essentially, at
I've been
least.
getting, yeah.
Yeah, I need to redo some of them right now for 2024. But yeah, essentially this is how it works. So for that, and then what I do is that for each sign up, because we don't have 100 of signups every day yet, but so essentially every week I take some time to review all the signups on the software. I qualify them, which can be super fast thanks to our software. We've did some automation there to qualify people. And then I would add all these people on LinkedIn with a note just saying, yeah, so you tried Breakcold. Sounds super simple, but every single time like they accept the invite, they came back to me and without me asking one question, they're telling me why they wanted to try Breakcold. And from there, I have conversations. And that's pretty easy because if you just take the time to talk to these people, and again, like when you're a SaaS, especially SMBs SaaS, they don't talk to users really. So when you sign up to a product, like people don't go to you. And if it doesn't work and if you don't understand for some reason and you don't get it because it's a new thing, you just don't buy it. And so for us, it's different because I'm doing that. So I would say, yeah, this is how I do it. And so throughout the whole process, I use my software to move them into the sales pipeline stages automatically or not. And I nurture them, engaging with their pairs, especially if I know it's a small company, but really well connected. or it can be like a big influencer who can share for free the product at some point. So again, because we sell small subscriptions, I cannot be like a proper sales guy
Touch and
with
feel.
everyone, but I choose pretty much my battles, and yeah, this is how it pays dividends afterwards. So
Cool. Yeah. Yeah. I think in that sense, using your gut makes sense. So to wrap everything up, what's your, for somebody who's in a maybe similar position to where you guys have came from, maybe they're doing like side hustles, etc. They don't have that big idea or big SaaS or whatever other company that they want to jump into. What would be your primary advice for them? Or one to two or three pieces of advice?
yeah, I
What have
think
you
like
learned that you would say to do?
I think my main advice would be to start with a niche, which kind of we didn't.
Start
I
niche.
Yeah, I don't have regrets about going after the sales CRM markets, because I just think with my co-founder, we super crazy, but I know it's not for everyone. And if most people, even entrepreneurs, fulfill the like entrepreneurs and stuff, if they do that, I'm pretty sure many people would give up for many
Mm,
reasons. You got to be pretty insane to do that. If you come from a service background or agency background, trust me, it's way tougher. Just to prove a point to some friends or myself, I launched a mini agency like 3 weeks ago. It's already working well. So it's way harder to go to do SaaS in general. So
great.
try to pick a very small niche. Maybe if you would think you will just make like 1K per month,
Yeah.
$500 per month, but actually it's not true. If it's a niche, it's way more scalable actually than an horizontal product like ours, for example.
Yeah.
It's it takes less time to take it to the market, but you also have way less barriers to entry. So if you're not really good at distribution, you might be pretty much like fucked. But yeah, that would be my advice. Start small to get small wins quickly.
Okay.
And like us with the AI first lines, we
Yeah.
did it. We did
That's huge.
AI first lines, got some quick wins super rapidly, 20K the first months. And then because of that, we got the energy
Yeah.
and the validation. Okay, actually, we can do this. So I think this is the most important. Quick
It,
wins in SaaS is very important. MVP in 1 week, 2 weeks max.
yeah.
And don't overthink it. And yeah, just build and ship fast.
One thing to add on top of that was how critical do you think your SEO knowledge was to that first and initial launch? Do you think you needed to have that to launch it successfully?
No, it was terrible. I will explain why, but I never used my SEO skills 1 year into Breakcold. I waited a year before
Okay.
using my SEO skills. So I never used SEO for Breakcold in the first months, 2 months, first 3 months. It
Why is
was
that?
all marketing and cold DMing because SEO takes time.
Got it.
And
Okay.
also my SEO skills never were useful really because again, SaaS is hard and e-commerce also is way easier than SaaS, and SEO SaaS is one of the toughest thing to do. SEO for SaaS is very competitive. So in the end, I did lots of mistakes and we hired like a pro, an expert to help us on SEO. But yeah, SEO for SaaS is way harder than SEO for e-com in general.
Got it.
Yeah.
Cool. Where can people find you and I guess follow you on social media? What's your biggest channel and how do they sign up for Breakcold?
Yeah. So you can find me on LinkedIn, like Arnaud Belinga. But otherwise, yeah, just type breckle.com and yeah, send us a message in the live chat, and you have one chance that it will be me pretty fast. But yeah, that would be pretty much how you can find me.
Yeah, and I'll add to that that for our audience of entrepreneurs, this is the CRM that you should use. And I'm not getting being paid to say that, but I'm just bringing it up because I have worked with a lot of entrepreneurs and startups, and they have a really hard time managing things like those DMs and reaching out to people and using a big heavyweight CRM like Pipedrive or Salesforce or whatever it may be. It's going to roadblock your progress. So you really need something that you're going to actively use. I've been using booking a ton of meetings. It's helped me a lot. So I do recommend that people check it out. Maybe we'll do a demo or something in the future.
Yeah. And just I'm thinking out loud for the audience listening, I will create after the podcast like a code, Chris 50, and you will get 50% off on the annual plans. So feel free to use it, guys.
Perfect. Sounds good. This is the One Podcast.